Have you been wondering what the heck is going on with these lumber prices? If you've done any research, you know that the price of lumber has soared. In this week's video, I'm going to talk to you about how the perfect storm was created that increased the price of lumber. And I'm also going to tell you about what's being done in order to get those prices down. So stick around. This is Danae Hewitt, your go-to DFW realtor. On this channel, I'm talking to you about all the things real estate, and today is no different. Let's get into these soaring high lumber prices. According to the National Association of Home Builders, the price of lumber has soared 300% over the last year. For years, a board of lumber about 1,000 feet went anywhere from $200 to $400. Well, now that same 1,000-piece board of lumber is going for over $1,000. So the National Association of Home Builders is saying that the average price of new home construction is now increasing $36,000 just to offset that high lumber cost. So what the heck happened? Last spring when we were in quarantine, the sawmills pulled back on their production for a couple of reasons. One, they had to quarantine their employees, and they also pulled it back because they thought the housing market was going to go down, and they also thought that the demand for lumber was also going to go down. But that didn't happen. In quarantine, a lot of homeowners had a lot of extra time on their hands. So what did they do? They updated their house. They did projects around the house. They were rebuilding fences. They were adding a deck onto their back patio. They were finishing their basements. Lots of projects were being done around the house that used that lumber that was in the stores. Us personally, my husband was working from home, and after he got off of work, he was doing projects around the house. We extended our patio and added some wooden benches, and then we also have an outdoor TV, which he enclosed in with, what do you think? With lumber. So just us personally, we used quite a bit of lumber for those benches and to cover our outside TV. That was the perfect storm. Sawmills decreased their production, but the demand for the lumber was still there. It really is the law of supply and demand. When the demand is there and the supply is low, the price of that lumber is going to go up. But also, after quarantine was lifted, mortgage interest rates went down, which meant that there were a lot of home buyers out there wanting to purchase something now that they could go out there and see houses. The housing market got really tough for buyers to get their offers accepted. The law of supply and demand. Sellers were not selling, but there were a lot of home buyers out there. So what did those home buyers do? Some of them. They went to new construction. They didn't want to compete in those bidding wars, so they were just going to build a house and have no bidding wars to compete with. When that started catching on, these new home builders started having difficulty keeping up with the supply and demand. Because, again, those sawmills had decreased their production, but new homes were still needing to be built because they were already under contract. I've got quite a few clients that are currently under contract with some new home builders, so I can talk to you a little bit about what I'm seeing across the board with a couple of different home builders here in DFW. There are some builders that are increasing the price of the house after they are under contract with clients. And unfortunately, it is stated that if the cost of materials do go up in the contract, then they can give that cost down to the buyers. Well, a few months ago, signing that contract, you're thinking, no problem, not a big deal. Can't imagine that happening, but it is happening. Again, because the prices of that lumber have just skyrocketed so quickly. I've also seen some new home builders limit the number of lots that they are selling, which is unheard of. Normally, if they've got 25 lots to sell, boom, they want to sell those lots. But again, with these lumber prices, and they just don't know when they can get that lumber delivered, The sales representatives are only allowed to sell, I've heard, anywhere from 3 lots up to 6 lots per month. And that is it. They're doing that so that they don't have to increase the price of the home down the line. And they're also doing that because they simply don't know if they're going to be able to get the lumber for 10 houses, 15 houses in 1 month. They're limiting that in hopes to really just helping those 3 to 6 buyers. I've also seen a new home builder do a lottery system, meaning you put your name in on a certain morning and they've got X number of lots for sale. And if your number is picked, you can go and choose your lot and you can get your home built. Things like this are unheard of when it comes to new construction. It has always been, if you go and meet with the sales agent at the new home build office, then if you find your lot, if you find your plan, you're under contract. Prices aren't going up. There aren't delays in production, but there are delays and price increases happening all of the time. On a positive note, there are a couple of home builders that I know that have said they are simply not going to increase the price of the home. They just don't want to have that reputation of passing any cost down to their buyers. They want their company to stay reputable and to move past where we are right now. So now we know why it happened. Let's get into what is being done to help get those prices of lumber down. The National Association of Home Builders have met with President Joe Biden and other administrators from his cabinet. In a news release, a White House spokesperson told CNN Business that President Biden's administration is pursuing every avenue that could help relieve bottlenecks and strengthen our economic recovery. The good news is that industry experts do anticipate that the prices of lumber will go down over the next 18 months. But they don't say that it'll go down to their pre-pandemic rates. But any relief is better than nothing at this point. And it's a little funny, right before I started recording this video, I read an article that lumber prices have gone down just slightly, which is fantastic. And we want to see them go down even more, don't we? Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next week.